This is the Backstage Sonoma radio show, your all-access pass to the local music scene.
Ooh, we're gonna have fun.
Yes.
Coming to you from lovely downtown Santa Rosa, it's the Backstage Sonoma radio show. And now, here's your host, Steve Roby.
This is Backstage Sonoma, your all-access pass to the local music scene. I'm Steve Roby. Jon Chi, former band leader for Rainmaker, known for its jam band and world music following, has since embarked on a solo career with albums like Just For Now and Another Rising Sun. His latest work, River of Marigolds, showcases a blend of styles combining the introspective songwriting of his solo work with his band's roots. Jon will join me in a moment to discuss his upcoming show with the Pacific Syndicate at Sweetwater Music Hall, his third solo album, and much more. But first, let's hear a sample of his music. Here's Road to Revival. Hey, Jon, welcome to the Backstage Sonoma show.
Hey there, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's so great you could be here. I really appreciate it. Jon, could you talk about who were some of your biggest musical influences growing up, and how did they shape your unique style?
I love this question. There's so many. I think my first concert I ever went to was U2 at the Boston Garden, at the old Boston Garden, which was amazing and left a huge imprint on me. That was the Joshua Tree tour.
Oh, wow.
And then the second, this was all influenced by my older brother. He took me to my second show, a Bruce Springsteen show at the Worcester Centrum in Massachusetts. Those were two bands I really loved. Of course, that led to loving Dylan. And I was playing acoustic guitar like a lot of people do when they start out, strumming through chords and everything and starting to write. And then when I heard the guitar solo to the Allman Brothers' Blue Sky, that was the song that made me want to pick up an electric guitar. I was like, man, I wish I want to learn to make sound like that. And of course, that kind of dovetailed into getting into the Grateful Dead and some of the other jam bands like Fish. But there have been so many influences, but in terms of how it influenced my style, you usually don't think of U2 and maybe even more so Springsteen. You don't necessarily put them in the same genre as the Dead. But I think something in common with those bands that drew me to them is that Springsteen has a lot of epic compositions where they're story and character driven and they're amazing lyrics and imagery. But in a song like Born to Run or Thunder Road or something, there are these really interesting, non-traditional, almost epic arrangements. And that's what drew me to music like the Dead. For the first time I heard Terravan Station, I was like, my God, what an incredible piece of music with lyrics. I take the lyric writing part of my own music. I take that part pretty seriously, but I also am drawn to making bigger, more sweeping arrangements at points.
Let's jump ahead and talk about your album, River of Marigolds. How did it come together and who joined you on the record?
That's my last record. It was really conceived during and even leading up to the pandemic. And that's we all think can still revisit that place emotionally and psychologically and all the different things that were going on. There were all the wildfires hitting here in California, tons of political unrest, and just a breakdown in our ability to discuss things from different viewpoints in a productive way, I think. And that all that stuff happening really made, I know a lot of us, myself included, very introspective. And I was writing a ton during that time. So I wrote 30 or 40 songs, all with all that stuff swimming around. There's one song that came up when I started writing it. It's called Bring On the Rain. As I was writing it, I pictured the rhythm section that I wanted on the song. I had seen a good friend of mine named Inks Herman. He was playing in the Mickey Hart Band. They were playing in Milwaukee, and I happened to be there. And so he was like, come down to the show. He played in Rainmaker, amazing drummer in person. It was he and Dave Schools from Widespread Panic on bass and drums. And they started the show with just the two of them playing for a few minutes. And it was just incredible. When I started writing that song, that moment went through my head. And I was like, man, if I could get Inks and Dave, who I hadn't worked with up to that point, on this would be incredible. And it came to fruition. And that was the first song we recorded for the album. And that really set the tone from there. So in terms of who's on it, those two guys obviously left a big mark on it. Also, Jeremy Hoenig and JT McLean, they tour with Melvin Seals quite a bit. I played with those guys a ton over the years. John Paul and I actually went to Berklee College of Music together and moved out here to California together from there. Gordon Feinstein, who plays quite frequently in my band on keyboards, as well as Mike Emerson. The horn from the Monophonics are on the song.
Nice.
Dave Zerbel, who's a Sonoma County pedal steel and guitar ace. And then Mingo Lewis Jr. adds some percussion as well.
Yeah.
To some of the tracks, yeah.
What do you reference with the title River of Marigolds?
That's about finding your place in your family history. I have a young son, obviously even younger when I wrote this record. With all the things we were discussing before, like the environment and that time we were living through, raising young children at the same time definitely came with a lot of perspective. That might sound a little vague, but that's the general gist.
You sent over some music to share with our listeners, and the first track we'll hear is a song called Got to Give the Devil His Due. I love that title. What's the backstory on this song?
That's one of the more upbeat songs on the album. And that one came about more as we were able to start performing a little bit during the pandemic. We do outdoor shows and that type of thing. The first line of that song is raise a glass, come sing along, praise the earth that we're all walking upon. And that was like the feeling that we all had, and it but still has continued on of the elevated joy we're all getting out of live music post-pandemic.
Let's listen to it now. This is called Got to Give the Devil His Due by Jon Chi, and you're listening to it on Cows FM.
Praise the earth that we're all walking upon. God damn, the man does keep his word. The night grows long, and this time's been absurd. We got to give the devil his due. Shake the shine right off of your shoes, give the devil his due. Spark a match, let's burn it down. We drain every spot in this old mill town. My man, if he calls me back again, won't somebody tell me what key my memory's in? I got to give the devil his due. You shake the shine right off of your shoes, boy. You know we're all just hanging on. Our senses will come back along, but you got to give the devil his due. secrets that she keeps in a case of Nebbiolo. Well, Suzanne, the night is winding down, but you and I'll be cooking when the sun comes back around. Got to give the devil his due. You'll shake the shine right off of your shoes, Mom. You know we're all just hanging on. Our senses will come back along, but you got to give the devil his. You got to give the devil his. You got to give the devil his due.
If you're just tuning in, our guest today is Jon Chi. Let's talk about your songwriting process, Jon. What's it look like, and how would you say your music has evolved over the years?
Biggest thing is, I think, to always be writing, because it just keeps you open to different ideas. That said, in terms of process, songs come from so many different places, and there's no one way for me. We talked about Devils Do a little bit. That guitar riff hit, and it resonated with me, and a lyric found its way out onto the page that matched that. And I was off to the races with that one. But song can come from something interesting that someone says to you in a conversation, or something that you've read, or a drum groove that you can't stop feeling when you're walking around. And I think there becomes a moment where, whether it's a guitar melody or a lyric or anything like that, where you know you have something. And from there, to me, it's like just staying open to let things come out really unfiltered, and separating kind of the editor who might come in later, keeping that part of the process out of the way as long as possible. And of course, these days, like if you've got a journal and you've got your voice memo on your phone, those are certainly two really helpful tools you can always have with you.
Absolutely. I was just talking to a musician yesterday who said before the iPhones came along, he used to call his voicemail on his home phone recorder there and leave song ideas. So we've certainly progressed since those days, indeed.
And I think you alluded to it before, but how things have evolved. I recorded separately more songwriter-focused records and more kind of jam band style records. The last record on River of Marigolds, that was really the first time that those two things, to me, really blended together in a natural way. And I definitely am hoping to build on that for my next record.
You just mentioned River of Marigolds. What would you like to share with our listeners about this song?
I think the lyric process of Tourniquet, Send Us a Sage, that's almost the defining kind of line or theme of this song in the record. And I also think the song really looks at some troubling things or more challenging things, but ideally to me, it would leave the listener with a sense of hope at the end, which I think is another theme of this record.
Let's listen to it now. This is River of Marigolds by Jon Chi, and you're listening to the Backstage Sonoma Show.
Frames along the road. Rivers may rise, the mountains may fall. Is it really so quiet at the end of it all? Toss us a tourniquet, send us a sage. We've been waiting on the wind to blow the other way. Ride with me on a river of marigolds. As my mind melts away, my soul gets sad and my memory goes. Ride with me on a river of marigolds. As my mind melts away, my soul gets sad and my memory goes. Come ride with me Marigolds. The nighttime still was broken by a knock upon the door. A thirst to quench for a weary soul. The sky may shatter and the walls may shake. Is it really so simple to let it all fade? The moon may tremble as the waves grow near. Your ransom of silver all disappears. Ride with me on a river of marigolds. As my mind melts away, my soul gets sad and my memory goes. Ride with me on a river of marigolds. As my mind melts away, my soul gets sad and my memory goes.
And we're back with musician Jon Chi, who is our guest today on Backstage Sonoma. Hey, Jon, what do you enjoy most about performing live, and how do you prepare for a show?
Geez, it's more, what do I not love about playing live besides loading the gear in and out? Just the connection with the audience. And that's something that's really just deepened and grown in the last few years since we had live music taken away from us for a little while. Just the joy that musicians experience playing with one another and that the audience is feeling, those things are so elevated. It's really amazing. And for me, there's a fair amount of improvisation in the shows that I do. And I'm always really looking for a sense of connection with the people that I'm playing with, for sure. No doubt with the audience. That's what I'm aiming at the whole time. And that, to me, over the years, that supersedes anything. Like, making a mistake on stage is, I think it's worth it if you're staying in a more open state to really connect with people.
What can we expect musically from you in the near future? Are there any new albums, tours, or projects that you're currently working on?
I'm busy writing a new record. And like I said, our live shows, they're really like a happiness exchange and like a joy fest almost. They're really so fun. But the audience that we've grown is just, they really come out with a lot of positive energy. The new songs that I'm writing are really influenced by all of that. So it's definitely a more upbeat, joyful batch of songs that are coming. So I'm super excited about that. And in terms of what's coming up immediately on the horizon, I'll be playing at Terrapin Sunday Daydream. That's this Sunday, the 18th at McNear's Beach Park. Yeah, Phil Lesh is headlining with some of the guys from Dawes, which is just a great band. It should be a great day. I'll be hosting a stage there and getting to collaborate with tons of great musicians on that. So that's on the 18th. And then I'll be with my full band, the Pacific Syndicate, on the 23rd, August 23rd at Sweetwater.
Tell me about the band Pacific Syndicate. Who's in the band and what do they play?
It's a bit of a rotating cast, and hence the name, the Pacific Syndicate, which is great because I really do love trying to make each show unique. So that happens with the lineups, the song selection, the improv, obviously. But stable people, Jordan Feinstein plays keyboards and sings in it. We've got a couple of horn players, Natalie John, who's also a great singer, and Andrew Fingers on saxophone. The rhythm section switches up. We have so many great drummers and bass players and just musicians in general all over the area. But Jeremy Honig and JP McLean from Melvin's band play a lot when they're not on tour. Angeline Saras has been playing bass with us a lot. And will be for
she's
these
great.
next couple of shows. Yeah, she's fantastic. Danny Luring, Lex Razor on drums, among a lot of others.
They'll be joining on stage at the Sweetwater Music Hall. What can fans look forward to at that show?
Oh man, it's the last time, our last show we played there was just so joyful and so energetic. And again, my mission in my head for the Pacific Syndicate is that we're in the business of happiness. I'd say expect to come out and share some happiness with us for a few hours.
That sounds wonderful. And let me remind our listeners, Jon Chi and the Pacific Syndicate will perform at the Sweetwater Music Hall on Friday, August 23rd. Doors are at 7:30 p.m. and showtime is 8:30 p.m. For tickets and more info, please visit sweetwatermusichall.com. And for more info on his music and schedule, visit Jon's site, jonchi.com. Hey, Jon, thanks for stopping by and the great conversation.
Thanks, Steve. Pleasure meeting you, bud.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages.
Would you like to be a guest on Backstage Sonoma? It's easy. Drop the host an email at backstagesonoma@gmail.com.
This is the Backstage Sonoma Radio Show, your all-access pass to the local music scene.
Thanks for listening to the Backstage Sonoma Radio Show on Cows FM. Join us next time for more great interviews and music from local and touring musicians.